Win, place, and show.
That means somebody wants to be able to take a vacation and get out of here.
You're not allowed to do
I'm going twice, so they're gonna take over.
that. All right. I'm sorry.
Not me.
No, not Jim.
I know better. We'll have short meetings when I'm gone. All right, we're good.
Okay, we are on the clock, and I will call this meeting to order of the DeKalb County Commissioners, and the date is September 12th, 2022. Good morning, Dottie.
Well, good morning. Hey, I passed out a hot off the press potential job description that our VSO has created, putting together the part-time veteran service officer and the office clerk. Because of the fact that we have, they're voting on budgets this week, I wanted you guys to really take a look at this. I know that Rhonda has a time set aside with you guys next week. I don't know how it's going to affect the budget for her department. Next week won't be too late, to get things back. But if you guys kind of get an idea of what she would like to have happen over there. Now, this hasn't gone to the job classification subcommittee from the council yet. I just got it. She worked on it Saturday. So I've just quickly taken a look at it, and she pulled some from the VSO, the deputy, some from the office administrator, put them together, and I can't imagine that you would be thinking of paying the person more than the hourly rate of the current deputy, but you might as well be armed with the information. I've also given you the current deputy VSO job description and the office administrator position. And because of the discussion that we have had about the staffing in that office, I would think that perhaps those other two offices or positions should be kept open, maybe not necessarily funded, but those positions are open should something go south and there be one person left in that office. So I'm not sure that there's any discussion that I need to have. I just wanted to hurry up and get that to you so that you would be able to maybe make a decision even with Rhonda's, time next week.
Anything?
I do have something to say.
I know.
Okay.
Only because it has to do with budget. So, waiting on. Our account everything is happy when it goes into being approved from the state. So I knew that that all of you were okay with it, but the consideration needed to be taken on the work history and whatnot. So that is kind of something.
Question I had, I noticed we're getting rewrites for a lot of job descriptions, and one of them I asked Jason Meek to do. I said, put down what you're actually working so it fits the job description if we're gonna keep that. But I see now it's work schedule as assigned. In other words, what's that mean? All these now, the new write-ups say as assigned, the veteran service officer, the
Emergency management,
emergency
Homeland
management,
Security. Yeah.
And I see that Central Communications Director did
That
the same
one
thing.
has been for a while.
Has been
Yeah.
as assigned.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
thing I will tell you, you can set hours, but you cannot make a salaried employee. If a salaried employee gets their task done, they can leave at 2:00 if they get their job done. So when you say salary exempt, that's a performance-based job. They do their task, they can leave. And So I think you gotta be careful when you say Monday through Friday. I think it'd be better off to stick people on hourly. If you really think that office should be open, it needs to be an hourly pay.
It doesn't meet the duties criteria for an hourly position. It's actually a salaried exempt position because of the executive decisions that the person makes. The person manages, there are just a wide variety. So according to the Fair Labor Standards
Oh,
Act,
really?
yes,
Yeah,
that
So
is
if there's certain
salaried
duties, then
exempt.
you have to salary them?
Yes.
Really? Okay, all right, because they're directing instead of being directed, is what
Correct.
you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Well, I'm just saying,
Yep.
well, then you gotta look at the pay, on that position and decide if it's a fair pay for it. Because I think the only problem I see with this whole thing unwinding is if you have people that their full-time job is Monday through Friday, and they have to be there even though they're directing. And then you let someone else have a full-time position that doesn't have to be there, it just causes a little animosity possibly between people. So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind. I'm not saying we should cut anyone's salary or anything. I'm just saying we need to really think, are we being fair to everyone when we do this? So, something to think about.
Right, and of course, people have to, it's like each position has to be looked at.
Yeah.
That position, there are things on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yes.
That there are other salaried exempt employees wouldn't consider even
Right.
showing up on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Right, yeah.
So.
And that's
yeah.
a good point.
Yeah,
Okay, I just want to make sure we all understood that. And I thank you for clarifying that
you're welcome.
it's on the salary position.
All right, any comments?
I'm okay with the VSO situation as long as, I had a brief conversation with Rhonda about it and the commitment to the position and so forth from Travis's end, and I think as long as that is well understood, I'm okay with it.
Oh, if we're back to his position, that position, okay, I was talking about Homeland Security.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Oh, sorry, shifted
with-
gears on you there.
Yeah, now with the deputy VSO, now that person probably should be hourly non-exempt because that person isn't supervising anyone else. The person is under the direction of the VSO. So I
agree,
think that
yeah.
is totally an hourly non-exempt position.
Yes, absolutely.
I would agree with that.
Okay, so in talking, has there ever been a, where is that? Has there ever been any suggestion on, or any talk on wages? Like, has she talked about, the reason I'm asking is because he came back and his part-time wages, if you use his part-time wages, he's gonna end up making more than Rhonda. But I told them, I said, you gotta take into consideration that he's now full-time, he's got benefits, I don't know if he'll take them, I don't know any of that. He'll have perf and blah, blah, blah. So I just was curious if there was any talk.
I mentioned that to Rhonda, and she seems that she is just totally okay with that, with his current wage. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I will let the council know and they'll have to decide.
We had a
I'm not
problem with
sure
that
about
in the city. We had the deputy clerk making more than the clerk, and Mike and I, if you remember, we raised the clerk's salary up to be the council did, but you're the one that brought it up, and I said, you gotta be kidding. The deputy's making more than if Rhonda's okay with it, that would be fine, but what if Rhonda leaves, the next person won't be
Right.
okay
Well-
with it? And then we're gonna raise both of them.
Yeah.
If you take a look, the VSO in an hourly position, the hourly wage would be about $25.91, but she's a salaried exempt. The deputy VSO is $25.08, so it's not more.
Oh.
But it kind of depends on how many, that would be, if you worked 35 hours a week, and if you're salaried exempt, you better not be working 35 hours a week.
But didn't we discuss that a deputy should be 75% of the pay of a,
Well, that's an elected official.
A first deputy of an elected official
Elected
is
official.
Of elected
80%.
official.
Right, yep,
80%, I'm
that's
sorry.
the whole,
Yeah.
crux of it.
but he is
Yeah.
kind of the assistant slash in other words, if she left, he would be in line to
But this
move
doesn't apply because he's an appointed.
because he's appointed
Yeah,
to the
not
position.
elected.
Right, yeah.
But you still use that as a guideline.
I would think it'd be almost the same thing.
No,
No, because an example is, and this is probably not a good example, but the surveyor was very, very adamant, even though he's elected, that his first deputy that is no longer here was not appointed by him because they didn't want that criteria to be put on it because he made a lot more than 80% of the surveyor.
yeah.
But there's other, so like development services, Chris and his next person, they're not 80%.
Okay.
So it's.
Take a look at HR.
With the, HR's not, so it's the, with the work study, it goes with the work study values.
Yes.
So those aren't an 80% thing.
Entirely different situation.
Well, I guess we just gotta figure out what the hourly rate should be then.
Well,
us.
you guys don't really need to decide.
That's council's.
Council will choose.
That's what I'm saying. But when I say we, as the elected
Oh, yeah,
officials,
right.
but would they just need to decide what they
Yeah.
wanna pay them?
Yeah, I just
I guess that's their
wanted,
purview. Let them do it.
yeah, I just wanted some feeling so that when I talk to them
I have no
tomorrow-
problem with him taking the position, as long as she realizes it won't be an emergency for us to replace him if he doesn't, we know what we're getting into.
Right.
So if he performs and she's happy, great. If not, please don't ask us to fill the position a week later and hire extra people to train and stuff. So, you know, and she's good. She's a good egg. I mean, she'll do a good job for him. If she really thinks that'll help, I'm all for it. I just want it to be clear that this doesn't work, we don't have to jump through hoops she needs to put in extra hours then and just do it herself until we can get a good candidate.
Do we want to move ahead with this and approve it today?
I'd prove it. I'd make the motion to approve the position and let council set the wage.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
So we're approving the full-time position at hourly.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Okay,
Correct.
all right.
Council to set the rate.
And yes, it should be hourly.
Yep. And I'm sure Rhonda will have more to talk about next week. And this will have to go to the Job Classification Committee. And then it will probably go to Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy for reclassification because she's added so many clerical things to it. So it's hard to say where it's going to land.
And again, we are not paying a receptionist slash, what was the position title before?
Right, administrative assistant,
Administrative
yeah.
assistant. So he's assuming those roles, so there's some savings there.
I think she quoted 30% is what and I'm assuming she's using the previous numbers,
Okay,
that it would save 30% in wages.
okay,
Right,
so
yeah.
it's going the right direction, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. So at least we're not having to, hire her for that position. But the Extension Office is back to recruiting for their administrative assistant. And since we reposted that position, I have received 58 inquiries for that full-time Extension Office administrative assistant. On the other hand, the Highway Department has received all of 6 for their CDL driver position, at least through me. The posting for the highway position says, please come to the Highway Department to fill out, to pick up an application. So, but from the discussion that I had with Ben last week, I don't think he's had any either. So it's, the nature of that type of position, CDL drivers. Title 4D is in second interviews for their case manager. So that is very promising. Community Corrections has decided to hire 3 of the candidates that we interviewed last week. They are working on changing how they structure their training. So if it works out, it looks like maybe they would start about October the 10th. So they have a couple other people who are willing to step up to the plate to do some more training. So I'll keep my fingers crossed on that. The assessor has hired, finally, an employee for her department. Community Corrections is still looking for a couple residential facilitators. And then there was also the Director of Intervention Services that they still had open. But due to the unification of Community Corrections and probation, they're actually discussing a case manager instead of that supervisory position of Director of Intervention Services. So that really could be a good thing monetarily, to hire a case manager instead of a supervisor. So they're kind of recalibrating.
Which department was that?
That's Community Corrections.
Community Corrections or Central?
Community Corrections for a case manager.
Only asking because I have somebody emailing me or messaging me, telling me that.
I know. It's
that
that
was a
multitasking
different-
thing. Yeah, I know. So, so that could really be a good thing. I know, had some kind of back and forth about weights and measures, and our weights and measures inspector is going to be making an appointment with you guys in a couple weeks to come in and just give you an update on what's been happening out in the county, where he's been going, what he's been doing. Just one of those things where, he's been going along, and I think individually he's probably talked to, a couple of you, but to kind of make it a little more official, he really ought to come in and, chat so that you guys are fully aware of what's happening with the weights and measures and all those new, you have new businesses that have scales, and, how does he find those places, and, what's his schedule like? What started it all was I got with him and reminded him about ACD days and also the fair, because, where he parks his truck, it's a little difficult to get to. So anyway, I reminded him about those days. So that's, so he'll be talking to you guys about all the things that he's doing. He mentioned to me, oh gosh, it's so hard to come in and toot your own horn. And I said, well, if you don't blow your own horn, nobody's going to blow it for you. So anyway, he'll be
That
in.
kind of comes up to a thing in my head. Crazy. You guys probably should be doing evaluations on your department heads that year. So I don't know how that happens. I don't know if
It really, I've talked to some of the hired department heads, and it's like, have you ever had one? No. Nobody's really had one. So when I talk to any of our department heads about doing performance evaluations for their employees, I have a variety of forms that from which you can choose. I am happy to coach the department heads on how to do them. Let me just tell you what I just did, because this is Lindsay's, it was Lindsay's 90-day review. So I gave her one of my forms and said, I'd like for you to review how you think you are doing. I'm going to do the same. And then we met and went back and forth. And interesting, the self-awareness that she had on some things, and a few items that she would like more training on, and things that she would like to do further. So it was a really great give and take, and that's the way it should be. Of course, you really should know where you stand with your boss at any point in time. It should not come as a big surprise to you that you get fired. you know. And so, but it's amazing how many, oh, I had no idea, really. You know, and unfortunately, I've done more than my share of terminations here with the county, but so much so Clara Mary calls me the Terminator. And I find that a compliment coming from her. So, thank you. Yeah,
I would assume that those
exactly.
could be done in an
Anyway,
executive
so
session.
you know, if you guys would like some ideas on a form
Evaluations.
to fill out and what to, you know, you guys may already have some ideas, you know, what you might want to use, but I have quite a few.
Yeah.
And
Why don't you send some of those forms out? I'd like to take a look at them.
okay.
I've done a few hundred of these
And
over the
then
years.
whatever you guys decide that can be done, like we could decide on a afternoon or sometime for a certain amount of executive session time for you guys, and then bring in, you know, one after another so that you guys can discuss however you guys want to work it out.
Sounds like a plan.
And speaking of executive session, I brought that up
Yeah.
regarding, we have 3 positions to fill out at Sunny Meadows, and 2 are individuals who resigned last week. We really had 1 position open since last September, and that was a work comp. Of course, he was on work comp. He was still employed by us. They couldn't fill that position. Everybody kicked in and helped and worked overtime if they needed to. And the matron and the director worked when they needed to try to fill in those hours. And finally, it's you know, it's come to the point where now with 2 other individuals leaving, I think we need to probably talk about it.
I would agree with that. I've actually been kind of working on a bit of an action plan for Sunny Meadows, which I would, if I could get about 6 more hours in every day, I could get some of this stuff done better. But anyway, I think I can probably get the finishing touches on that over the next couple of days, send it out to everybody to take a look at. That could have some impact on how we approach those positions, too.
So
Open to suggestions.
Right,
know.
yeah.
It's,
It's,
Yeah.
is what it, but yeah, I mean, we obviously need to have an executive session about what happened and
Yeah.
figure
moving
out why.
forward, this could be a real challenge.
Yeah.
Keep this going, be honest.
Yeah.
It'll be a challenge.
Right.
Talk
yeah.
about it for sure.
Yep. So I guess we wait until Mike
Yeah,
gets
let's
the
see what you get.
information and then
Yeah,
open
I
up that discussion then again, or make a decision about an executive session. What? Whichever? Okay. Yeah. Let's see. The other thing of course, it's been in the news about the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, the Budget Reconciliation Act, and how this one little section, how it impacts insulin. And
Insulin.
insulin, yes, the federal government has set a cap, sorry, on in Medicare, Medicaid, the federal programs, how much that a person should pay for insulin. And so I broached that subject with Anthem. I said, how is that going to affect, the private insurance companies? And so my person, my representative from Anthem said, for groups who have one of our preventive prescription drug lists in place, they do have insulin on some of those lists, and they don't require it to be used for certain diagnosis. Say if a member is prescribed insulin for any purpose, while it may require a pre-certification to fill it, showing that it's medically necessary, we would not charge one member for the same drug while offering it free to another member with a different diagnosis. So it's straight across the board. And there probably will be some things changing down the road with plans that start January 1 of 2023. So I wouldn't see any of our plan changing until, July of 2023. But I guess, that was good to know. It's across the board. They treat everybody the same when it comes to that. As a matter of fact, I'm having a meeting with Anthem on Wednesday morning. So if anybody is available to sit in, Rex will be there along with one or two of the representatives from Anthem, and we'll get the 21-22 plan year review and go over some specifics and where we're really being hit when it comes to prescription costs and to our high dollar claims. So I'm excited to get that information, but I do think it will be helpful. It'll benefit us greatly as we talk with and try to flesh out a more creative way of providing our employees with a health plan insurance. So if we got to know what we've got to know stuff first.
That claim history is, that's the whole backbone to where you end up and what you can afford to do or not do.
Yeah, and one point I'd like to make again, just real quick, I was shocked to see when they told us our claims were over our premiums, but they're not. The claims are 70% of it or so, or 60%, but they throw administrative costs in there. Well, I deal in extended warranties, and we get claim losses. Like if you buy a warranty for $1,000 and the warranty company spends $1,000, they say, okay, it's zeros, They don't throw in administrative costs. They say, here is that, that's their cost of doing business is their cost of doing business. I don't like that facet being thrown in there as claims. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but the insurance laws require
I know.
reserves to be figured into all those calculations.
I'm not saying that, but when they present to us, they need to say your claims are different than the administrative costs. And that's what I'd like to ask the Jefferson people, because I went online and went into their advanced, I read it all. I want to know, are administrative costs considered, or what are the administrative costs? You know what I'm saying? What cut are they going to take for sure, or tell us is going to be part of the claim structure? So I think that's a good discussion.
And you have to think commissions that are thrown in there for the broker, which,
They even talk in the Jefferson plan about if you get a balance going, it's your money to go in the balance, and if you want to reduce the rates to the employees
Then
and
you
use some
let
of
it-
that balance,
right.
or if you want to get out of the program and you got a few $100,000 sitting in there, they'll write you a check
it's
for it.
gravy. Yeah.
So
What was the term you used? They said that we're over our what?
they're saying our claims exceed our contributions.
Okay.
But the claims also include the administrative costs that they incur,
And that was considerable.
Well, it was, I think, I'll have to look again, but I think it was 40% of what they said the claims were.
Yeah, 900,000 or something like that, if I remember right.
I think it was close to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it's
a bunch.
around
It was a
40%.
bunch.
So it's just something to, as we think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it, what are the real
Yeah.
claims versus
Right.
administrative costs? And how does the Jefferson plan compare?
Yeah.
Or any or partially
Right,
self-funded?
partially, right,
know.
Yeah, what's it going to cost to administrate the self-funding
Yeah,
compared to what they're charging us for
yeah,
above and beyond what we actually have in claims?
yeah. That Jefferson plan's interesting because it's almost like MediShare per se. It's almost like
Yeah.
but it really is considered insurance because they do follow, they have a minimum bronze plan, which
Right.
is pretty worthless if you look at
Right.
the straight, but here nor there, it's, I think it's an option to consider.
I think we have to look at everything.
Yeah.
Put it all on the table and
Yeah.
see what works.
I know. Yeah. There are some options out there. It's a little more optimistic than what I had originally, I think more optimistic than what we had been led to believe from the presentations that we have had probably for the last 3 years. Oh, you're not good for self-insurance.
Well, and I think that was a a good point that was made that, you know, anybody that wants to fully insure you is going to tell you you're not a good
Not a
candidate
good
for
candidate,
self-insurance.
right?
You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that exhausts my list.
You think about it?
I'm
Nothing really-
exhausted.
Nothing
It was
really for her,
exhausting,
but
wasn't it?
We approved the VSO. Should we approve the change in the emergency management director's position as,
Is Jason coming in to talk with you guys?
I don't think he's coming in.
Do we
I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
since
No.
last
I just
time.
asked him
Alright,
to submit
okay.
it.
Right,
And
okay.
basically, the only thing that changed is work schedule as
Right,
assigned.
yeah, that's
That's the
it,
only thing
yeah.
that changed.
Right.
I just want it to be, if it says Monday through Friday and as needed, and you're not there, that's incorrect. Let's just change it to, I'm good with as assigned. I want it to be the same as what he's actually doing. So if you're good with it, I'd make a motion that we accept changing the agreement to as assigned for the, because everyone else is, the community, essential communications is as assigned.
Comments?
If not, tell me what it should read. I'm open with anything. I'm just telling me how it should read. I just want whatever he's doing to match what the description is. Otherwise, it's not right. 'Cause it
I
wasn't,
guess assigned is pretty broad. I was thinking as required to complete assigned,
yeah, and I guess,
assigned jobs or as assigned task or,
then I
don't
guess,
know.
then I guess it lists his tasks there, and as long as he's completing the tasks, then he's fulfilling it. But if you say Monday through Friday
Yeah.
and is called.
you can't do that.
You can't do
No,
that,
no,
because
no,
if he's not there, well,
Yeah.
you're terminated. You didn't fulfill your schedule. Wait, I'm exempt. You can't do that to
Do
me.
you want it to say as assigned 24/7 because he's a 24/7 department? I mean, he
Well,
literally
it says in his
can-
job description, though, 24/7, so as
Yeah,
assigned.
yeah, it's several times, it's
Yeah.
listed 24/7.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
But I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
that if we're gonna do it right, but
Right.
if Central's that way, he might as well be that way too,
Yeah,
because their job descriptions say what they have to complete. Now, if they don't complete their job schedule,
That is a performance
then you can
review,
talk
yes.
about, reprimandation for that, but to say Monday through Friday, and he's not there, then
That's incorrect.
that's incorrect. That's all I'm asking, is that we just make it
Yeah.
consistent.
I'll second Todd's motion.
So the motion is to leave the agreement as is, except for as
As assigned,
assigned
yeah.
for work schedule. Bill?
Yeah.
Any further comment on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't know, I'm trying to run the meeting, I'm just saying, is there anything?
I'm just gonna-
You're just sitting there, so I just want to make sure I didn't overtalk you.
Well, I'm just going to say we have a motion on the floor, we have a second. Are there any additional comments? And I have none, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries.
Good.
Okay,
Is there anything that we need to talk about with the coroner position? I didn't know if there was anything more.
Nothing really, but let me tell you what happened. The coroner has a driver who is not a county employee, really. And so he's a contract, but he would be using our vehicle to train these new, whatever. We only have one right now, but I'm sure that there will be a few more coming down the road, according to Jenny and Mike, that they would like the same sort of situation. So we had that person fill out a motor vehicle report authorization disclosure, sent that to insurance trustees. Insurance trustees goes, yes, he's cleared to drive a county vehicle. So he is set to drive a county vehicle in this training situation that he will have with this potential new employee, which we're not quite sure. The person has to take some classes. The person has to go through some training. So they haven't really actually made this new one an employee quite yet. So at least we've paved the way for that non-employee to drive the county vehicle to do the training. So we're moving along on that. It's possible that there may be some, we'll be losing Mike. I don't think he's going to move into just a deputy coroner position. So that may open up another 1 or 2 spots. We have one who is currently not working. He's, and this is a crazy thing. They only are paid on that, just by the run. So are they employees or are they not? They have their own full-time employee, employment elsewhere. And so he's not even working his current full-time employment elsewhere in another county because of a health issue. So does that mean that they will need another one? I'm not sure. And I don't know, Susan, you probably know better than I do. Do they have a set number that they can hire, quote unquote?
I don't believe a number has ever been discussed.
I've never known of one.
I know there's a couple different.
It is.
They have some like coroner deputies that will do some reporting and different types of things, and then they have just transport officers that will take the body to
Nursing home or
wherever it needs to be.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if it's not a funeral home, it goes to the St. Joe.
Sorry.
Well, what used to be St. Joe.
Sometimes from
From the nursing home to the funeral home or whatever.
I don't know that there's ever been a set number. I do know that the positions are very hard to fill because a lot of people have full-time employment and you never know when it's going to happen. And sometimes, they could call like 3 or 4 of their people and they're all working and can't leave. So, but I don't believe that there's ever been a set number.
Okay. I had never known of one.
I kind of think it's too hard to fill to actually have too many.
I would agree with that.
I have no problem with the gentleman who works for Feller that currently he's done that job forever and picked up. There's no sense making him an employee. He's just contractor.
Right. Yeah.
But once in a while he'll need to drive our vehicle for, like you said, which is not a problem. We have employee or non-employees that are on our insurance policy, and it's not a problem to do that. You don't make an employee, you don't make them benefits and everything else too. Which
Well,
you'd
it
have
would
to
be
full-time.
part-time.
Yeah,
right,
but I'm just saying
exactly. But
it's-
yes, yeah.
Well, you don't
It's a
have
little
to.
better. Well, we don't have the Social Security, we
Security
don't have the
match.
work comp, we don't have the
Yeah.
unemployment.
Fuda,
So,
Suda,
yeah.
So,
Yep. So that's the update on the corner. Thanks, Susan.
Anything else for Dottie?
Nothing for Dottie.
Nothing.
All righty.
Thank you, Dottie.
Thank you.
Have a good
Hey,
day and a
Dottie.
good week.
Speaking of the coroner, I did get an email from Mike. He was wondering where we're at with that disposing of that truck and,
still working on it.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, what we're gonna do is we've painted it up now, the frame, painted up the rear, painted up the wheels, painted the front bumper. The coolant tank, this is for that diesel box truck. I thought it was the windshield washer tank that was deteriorated because it was literally broken in half. And so I drove it the other day and it was just spitting antifreeze out on the floor. And I thought, oh, that's a coolant tank. So I got to order a coolant tank. But we're going to make it look really good. And the thing is, I think the thing actually has 19,000 actual miles. But the title, now that I've looked at it, the wear on the gas pedal was from someone's boot, probably working in the federal government. They probably required, but the seats aren't worn at all on the edges. And if it had 1,000,000 and it's the original interior. So there's no way it has, but since the title's branded and it was branded back in '08, there's no way to correct it because those people would have to make a correction affidavit. And they're not going to sign, and nor would I.
No.
It's a federal offense to incorrectly state odometer. So yeah, it'll sell. It's just I want to make it look as good as possible, and I want to also say, hey, I think it really is 19,000 miles, but you're buying it as over 1,000,000 miles because when they checked the box that said exceeds mechanical limits.
Which is 999.
999,909. There's no way it has that.
No.
Right.
But so we'll get her sold. But yeah.
Well, he was just wondering about getting the stuff moved over into the Yukon, or if we're gonna get a van.
Oh,
for 'em,
okay.
Because the van is really what
Okay.
they want.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing I'm doing is trying to cap all the wiring in this thing. They just ripped it all out, the equipment they had in there, and left live wires exposed,
geez.
Oh,
which is fine, other than I don't want this thing to catch on fire on someone, so we're capping all them wires, removing what we
you
need
got
to.
it,
We
got
want to make it look really nice, too.
yeah,
We're getting there, but thinking next 2 weeks.
okay, good.
Okay?
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of time. Let's move on to claims.
Move to approve claims as presented.
Second.
May I motion and second. Any additional comments?
Wait, I do have one comment.
One comment.
I'm sorry, I got ahead of
Just
myself
made it
there.
under the wire.
All right. Under, what's the best way for you to look these up? If I give you a number or what?
The fund and a department.
Well, okay, project income, community corrections, benefits paid back to county, DeKalb County Treasurer Department, 25,000. What does that actually mean? Is that a transfer?
That is, they have to write a check and bring it back here. For this year and many years prior, the commissioners had agreed to only fund 65,000 some odd
Okay.
number of their insurance. So for payroll wise, it's more of a nightmare to have multiple different benefit distributions because we would have to only let it distribute from you guys up to 65,000 and then make sure it gets switched to another fund. So each quarter, or as often as they want, but just before the end of their fund, their grant cycle, then they reimburse the county what really is paid from the grants, then it just gets put back in county general.
Okay, gotcha. And then, under the same category, equipment rental, Attenti US Inc., $17,418. Just trying to think what we would rent for 17,000.
I did see that also and wondered, was that something to do with,
Unless it was a service that was provided, just mass categorized as a rental or something. It's, I don't know how to read these numbers. It's equipment rental, 33,710. And this, I assume, is the claim number.
Oh, these are their GPS units.
Oh,
They're tracking.
is that a yearly thing, I assume? I don't expect you to know that off the top of your head. I was just, surely that's not monthly, right?
hope not.
No, okay, so like, just for instance, this, whatever, hybrid one-piece GPS AT1 is $3.30 a day, and it's invoiced for 790 days for $2,660.
793 days. So they bill us to every 2
Yeah,
years?
so that's 793. Other one was in there for
Okay,
So it all depends on the days, I guess.
okay. All right, that was just kind of a big one for equipment rental.
Yeah.
Then real quick too, I understand the paid back to county. Okay. No, I guess that's all I have then. That was the only one in the claims that I had. We'll talk about the American Heritage Village thing later, as far as what we've spent. $63,922 for,
Oh, for the,
for the, I think this is for the
Oh,
sports group
yeah,
park, so.
yeah.
And Jim and I have talked about how that works, but
Well,
good.
yeah, and.
64
and
grand.
Actually, if the bond issue goes through, all of that
yeah,
can be out of cost of issuance.
Right.
And all three, local council agree that they out of cost of issuance.
Okay.
okay.
All right, that's all I had, so.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, we are at 9:15. And so we will recess the commissioners' meeting and open the public hearing, public input regarding road boring ordinance 2022-R-12 DCC 4-1-1. Any comments from the public?
Yeah, you have something to say, sir?
Any comments from the commissioners?
None for me.
No, I'm fine.
Boring roads.
Boring roads.
That's bad.
Ben, you have a boring job.
Do we approve this today?
Second and third readings is what we're,
Second and third?
yeah, we will. No, we'll go out of it.
You have to
Because
close the
we've,
public hearing.
we've already done the first reading, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we had to have the public hearing.
Okay, then.
Go ahead, Bill,
We
I'm
will
sorry.
close the public hearing and reconvene the commissioners. Now then,
Now then, I'll move to approve ordinance 2022-R-12 on second and third reading.
Second.
a motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Okay, so he's got, did you sign 3? So there's 3 to sign for the claims, and then this will be the
3, oh,
ordinance. There might be one stuck to the back of that.
yeah.
Oh, okay. More signing. All right. On top for you, Bill.
Okay.
Tongue tube?
Yeah.
Mary Smaltz called me. It's not like I'm choking to death.
Oh, my.
Wow. That didn't take long.
We're very efficient.
We are. We'll just get right into it, don't we? Okay, claims are done. Minutes.
I'll even move to approve the minutes.
Yep, I read them thoroughly. I saw nothing wrong. I'd second.
Motion and second to approve minutes. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion, minutes are approved. Travel.
Same as always, I'm going to make a motion to approve. One thing I didn't understand, I saw that Mr. Weber presented one to drive back and forth 3 days in a row
Yeah,
for a total of 800 and some miles. He must need to get back at night, which is fine. I guess I would have stayed. That'd been the one time I'd say, I'd just stay.
I definitely would.
Because I think it'd been cheaper too, maybe, to stay than to do all that mileage. It's 850 miles total, I think.
would be 300 a day. About break even.
Yeah, probably.
Depends where he's staying.
A lot of wear and tear on his vehicle and a lot of driving, but hey, that's up to him. I'm not disputing it, but I make a motion to approve the travel,
Second.
all of them.
Second.
Motion and second to approve travel. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Yeah.
Okay. Dan Kaufman Memorial. Take your time, sis. You're okay.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with the last one that I found in here because we haven't had any this year. So.
Mm-hmm.
And you can approve it at any time, usually before you have people come. What has happened in the past, and I'm not wedded to this, I'm just telling you. Past, commissioners and the council, the resolution, they all sign it. We would invite the family to come, like, pledge some Monday, and then one of you or one of read the resolution. The family would be
So what's happening is you guys are going to approve your portion and sign today. Council's going to approve and sign their portion tomorrow, and the family's coming tomorrow for Rick or whoever to read it and then give it to them. So I have two good copies here. I need you to sign both once you do it, because one will stay with us and one will go to the family.
then
It's on nice paper. Yeah.
The
It
council
is
meeting.
tomorrow.
They're coming tomorrow to council because you guys are not on the same days anymore. So, yeah, they're
talked
coming
about
tomorrow, I
that.
think
Yeah.
Said,
I think they're coming at 9, I can tell
it's 9, you're looking.
you. I'm looking real quick here. Yes, I have them coming at 9.
Okay. Motion?
Do you want me to read it?
I think, shouldn't we?
Joint Resolution of DeKalb County Commissioners, Resolution Number 2022-R-17, DeKalb County Code 4-1-3-37, and the DeKalb County Council Resolution will be number 2022-RCC-7. Don Kaufman Memorial. Whereas Don Kaufman has been a true and faithful servant of the citizens of DeKalb County for over 15 years, serving as a commissioner, drainage board member, chairman of the Northeast Indiana Solid Waste District member, and Hamilton District Board member throughout that time. And whereas Don Kaufman exhibited his vision and commitment to the care of those less fortunate and in need of housing with his support and leadership of the operation of Sunny Meadows Residential Facility at the county farm. And whereas Don Kaufman was a leader for years in the agricultural community in DeKalb County, both during the county's active operation of the county farm and more recently overseeing the county's leasing of its farm ground. And whereas Don Kaufman further showed his vision and commitment to the citizens of DeKalb County in his support of the county airport development to one of the leading general aviation airports in the state of Indiana, and supporting local economic development with the creation and funding of our local economic development organization and acting to attract new industry such as Family Dollar Distribution Center, the Walmart Distribution Center, and many others. Expansion of existing industries such as Steel Dynamics and retaining existing industry. And whereas Don Kaufman recognized the need to provide services for our citizens in a centralized area of our county seat, which helped lead to the restoration of our beautiful courthouse and acquisition and renovation and construction of 220 East 7th Street for expanded offices. And whereas in addition to his services for and on behalf of the county, Don Kaufman operated his own farming operation and founded and operated for years his successful Kaufman Well Drilling Incorporated. And whereas Don Kaufman exhibited his commitment to education of our youth with his many years of service on the Hamilton School District Board. Now therefore It is hereby resolved by unanimous joint resolution of the DeKalb County Commissioners and the DeKalb County Council that Don Kaufman be commended for his unselfish commitment, vision, and service to the citizens of DeKalb County over a period in excess of 15 years. Be it further resolved that the DeKalb County Commissioners and the DeKalb County Council convey their sincere sympathy to Don Kaufman's wife Judith, his 5 daughters and son, and their spouses, as well as his 16 grandchildren. Be it further resolved that DeKalb County Commissioners and DeKalb County Council hereby declare September 12th and September 13th of 2022 as days of official mourning for their departed friend and colleague, and further direct that the flags of our country, state, and county be flown at half-mast during these days as a signal to all of our respect for Don Kaufman. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the permanent minutes and records of the DeKalb County Commissioners and the DeKalb County Council, and that copies be sent to the family of Don Kaufman now that he has met his demise and joined his Lord and Savior, and that copies of this resolution also be sent to the surrounding appropriate municipal bodies in our county and their surrounding area. Adopted and proclaimed this 12th day for commissioners and the 13th day for council of September 2022.
Okay, thank you, Susan. In a motion?
Todd's reading.
Oh, it's okay. You want me to make the
Oh,
motion
go
here?
ahead, sure.
So we would be the commissioners, so I would say, I'd make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-R-17 for the Don Kaufman Memorial.
And I will second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Gonna sign that one, Bill? Do we sign both
Sign
copies?
both of
Sign
those,
both.
yes, please.
Yes.
Todd, you were not listening, were you?
No. Who are you?
I'm gonna get you.
No, I heard you say there's 2 copies, but that's right, because you're gonna give a copy to
I'm
them to
just-
sign,
I'm
right?
just teasing.
No, I just want to make sure, following procedure.
You can have it.
This one right back.
And there you are.
Thank you.
All right, moving along. Ownership affidavit signature for Light Source BP. What we got?
Okay, so I don't exactly know, but what was his name? Curtis Nordic. He sent an ownership affidavit that you guys needed to sign that we didn't have previously. And it's an owner certification and signature that you certify that you're the owner of the property listed on the sheet and the location. And that you're just authorized agent to approve it. However, I need to make a one change because it did say City of Auburn, and Chris was sending me. Okay, so if you guys want to do something else real quick, I need to type this real quick.
Well, I'll move to acknowledge receipt of the August Sunny Meadows Director's Report.
Second that.
A motion and a second. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
I'm just gonna print the new one that has DeKalb County, so you guys can sign it, and then I'll fill the information in. Or not.
Yeah,
Sounds shaky to
little
me.
switcheroo going on there.
You just sign it, I'll fill it in
Yeah,
later.
it's like a check, like a check.
Here, I'll provide both of them.
Just sign the check, I'll write in the amount. How much you got in your account?
So as you guys are looking at that, just because I'm trying to put my understanding together. So I'm assuming that this appraisal that we got from John Good is that land? No?
No.
69,
That's the
Oh,
pond.
this is, never mind. Okay.
yeah.
Nothing to do with
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting all confused.
Yeah,
Okay.
the pond.
Okay, Bill will probably sign this.
I think so. Looks like it to
The
me.
ownership affidavit bills for you to sign, since it only has signature one.
That one from Good Valuation is just,
Right, yeah.
Okay, so did you guys motion that?
Surprised at,
Did we
I
motion,
was surprised at that.
The ownership affidavit, did I miss
I
that?
think we made a motion to sign the ownership affidavit, didn't we? No? Okay.
Not yet.
Mike, you wanna? I'll make the motion that we sign the ownership affidavit for BP Light Source.
I will second then.
A motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Excuse me.
Okay, so on that appraisal then, I assume, I shouldn't assume, but I'm assuming that you guys are paying for that out of your administrative funds?
And what was that, 1,600 or 1,800?
1,600.
16, I think, yes.
Hard to believe, looking at that map, that that's 47 acres and the pond's only 16 of it, because the pond looks like the majority to me. You know?
It's quite a bit of woods to the north. though.
Yeah, I know, it just doesn't
And
seem
it gets
like,
wider.
yeah, it's probably true.
That's the thing, it gets wider up there, the wedge.
I have to admit, I was very surprised at the value
need this.
on that,
I was too.
Price
because
high, price low, surprised. It was that
I
high.
didn't figure it would appraise nearly that high, because, I mean, because of the drainage situation and the parts that pond plays, I don't know how buildable any of that is, or usable for anything other than green space.
Well, it appears to be buildable according to the report. It says,
Yeah.
that it is developable.
Yeah,
you know?
I was surprised at
Yeah,
that.
I mean, because if you really think about it,
Once the drainage is,
Because that affects both the Ketchum and the Groscott drains substantially.
but you could put some pretty high-end or not apartments, but, well, you could do apartments there, it'd be close, but you could do high-end business offices or apartments, and then you have all that billboard space on 69 that rents out for pretty big, I don't know how many billboards you could put there, but once I thought about it, I thought, because I was shocked like you.
Yeah.
I didn't think it'd come in that high, and then I started thinking, well, it is 47 acres on the corner of two of the busiest roads in DeKalb County. So it made sense after I read it, but I was shocked too. And the city's pursuing one also, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Be
gonna-
interesting to see what theirs comes in, because just like the highway department, when we did we had two grossly different estimates on the Clink property.
Yeah.
You know, they were half, one was half of the other.
right, right.
So it'd be interesting to see how this one comes in, being just dirt, you know?
I wasn't surprised, actually.
Yeah, you thought it might even be more, didn't you? Yeah.
I just think the positive potential, considering what's coming in around it.
Yeah.
Well, 20,000 an acre,
Well, if
You're
it's
there.
developable,
Yeah,
yeah, according to his report, he
yeah,
said he
yeah.
didn't see any, I don't know what the exact verbiage was, but he didn't think that it, or he assumed, or thought it would be developable, which would make a big difference.
right, right.
Because if it was just a, like you said, a drainage pond, it's like, okay, what's it worth other than put a track around it for the hospital or something?
yeah. Yeah, well, it'd make a great park, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing.
and I think that's what the city would obviously
Yeah, that's
pursue.
their interest.
Yeah.
As a park.
But, it's interesting.
Okay, we still got some time to pledge.
Goodness.
Miscellaneous.
Should we talk about this, Thalassa, DeKalb County? Is this time to talk to this, or is put that on hold? I see it was in our, as far as the EDA and the abatement and all that, or is that more
I
of
think
a
most of that needs to be done in executive session.
executive session? Okay. I just found it interesting that,
That's what I'm getting ready to notice that.
okay, well, at least we can talk about these numbers that we have here. You know.
Yeah.
It was interesting that I thought that two people came up with the exact same, the Calvary Energy Center and the Twin Lakes, 13,000 per megawatt is what they did for an EDA payment. They just set a value per megawatt. And I also read it's interesting that you can't really demand EDA payments, and since you're gonna give an abatement, they can propose an EDA and you can say, agree to it, but you can't say, hey, you must pay an EDA in order to get the abatement. You gotta be careful how that verbiage goes.
Well, you can't link it to you can't link the abatement and the EDA.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
The ADA is required by our ordinance.
Right. I'm
So-
just saying you can't say, yeah. You can't link the
So-
two together.
And you'll see if you read, have you read through the whole thing?
Not the whole thing.
All this flowery language about the good of the community.
Right, that's what it has to
Quality
say.
of life and all that, and you gotta say all that stuff
Yeah.
to separate it from,
Right,
a fee for
right.
abatement.
Yeah,
I just thought it was interesting how the,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I did read that it, you know, you have to say, because the contributor wants to contribute to the good of the community, and they must make that statement. Well, okay. So, just interesting.
yeah, I got phone calls this afternoon with both commissioners from both White County and
Oh, okay.
Randolph County, because both of those counties are big in both solar and wind, actually.
Actually, White County larger
Yeah.
one, but they're also the ones that. White County, I think that's.
Yeah, they have,
Yeah, plus some wind. Yeah,
yeah, they're talking up to 200 megawatts there at Calvary, which is White County, and up to 150 megawatts, which Thalassa is, am I saying that right? Thalassa is looking up to 150 megawatts. But what I would say is, as we talk about this, we should, like you said, have phone calls with them. Is this working? Do you think it's the right amount?
Chart that I did showing the different counties. It was an email to you this past.
I think that's what I'm looking at, is the,
Yeah,
yeah.
it came with a bunch of other stuff, but that
Yeah, I
was,
printed off.
those were the only ones where I had copies.
Yeah. And it was helpful. I appreciate it. It gave me an idea of what others charged, or what the EDA agreement was, so.
I may throw it out on the IACC Commissioners Forum just to see if anybody's got other comments from
Yeah.
other counties.
And I'm noticing that for Thursday, the 29th at 10.
Right, I think that was in our email discussion, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Anyway, that's all I had on that. Just
That's all you have.
I will call in.
Yeah.
And I've already packed all of my information on the different ones. I got two of these. Folders I gotta take.
You're gonna have to rent a U-Haul trailer to haul all your stuff down there.
I do have something else if we, miscellaneous, if we want to talk. So, had some very, very long phone conversations on the buggy ordinance.
The next one up,
And, oh, do you want to talk about that later?
no.
Oh, okay.
That was the next.
So
on my
here's
list.
one of the comments. Just so you know, the guard is up on these folks. They think that we're we haven't really researched this. And they have. The difference is, I just wanted you to know, I've been there with Ben, and I've seen what's collected in other communities and what kind of repair they're getting, and they're just getting patch jobs with what's going on. With that said, one of the arguments was, well, they have a lot more horses, so they're going to tear up a lot more roads. And I said, yes, but they're also collecting a lot more fee, therefore the road should be repaired. Where I'm leaning on this is it's just like inflation right now. The government's trickling up interest rates. Well, until they raise interest rates to the rate of inflation, inflation's going to happen. So what's going to happen is they're going to take money from people and not combat the problem. The same thing from us. If we don't charge enough and take enough money, we're not going to fix it. So I either say we charge nothing, or we have some more discussion on what a reasonable fee is to make sure that it's repaired, one of the two. I think it's ridiculous to do $100 fee or something, and then not, the administration costs, especially the first year, will eat up a lot of that. So I say either say, you know what, we're not going to charge anything, or we're going to get enough. But what I would like to do is I want to talk to the Horsemen's Association. I want to talk to the bishops in the Amish community. I want to talk to the people that were here, and I want to sit down just with them, me alone, so we don't violate the open door law. And I want to have a discussion with them. Show me your data saying why it needs to be this amount or why it needs to be that amount. And I'd like to have that discussion just so we're clear when we vote on it that everyone's concerns were addressed and they fully understand what we're doing. Because there has been some valid questions about the fee. But I want to, again, show them, hey, is DeKalb County agreeable to have roads eventually like Topeka and LaGrange? If they are, okay, we can charge whatever fee, and this is the patch job you'll get. Are you agreeable to that? And
I disagree that it's pointless to charge a lower fee to start with. I mean, $100 is too low, I think, for sure. But I think starting with a lower fee fits with the current Amish population, which are the
well, let's
biggest.
not say Amish though. I want to
Well,
start saying horse-drawn buggy because
Okay.
I don't want to target any one person.
Well,
Just
okay, yeah.
group.
Okay,
But I agree, yes.
It fits with the amount of horse-drawn
There you go.
vehicle traffic that we have now. And you can always adjust that as we go. You know, if you start out at $500 a buggy, the amount we're going to collect is insignificant anyway in the scheme of what we need to repair roads. If you start out at $1,000, it's going to be insignificant because you're not going to get compliance for the most part. You know, and until I hear something from the sheriff or the presumptive new sheriff about how they intend to enforce this, that's a key part of it anyway. You know, if you, I think that's, at least that's going to be need to be part of my deliberation.
Well, I assume if they would enforce it the same way, the only way they're really going to enforce it if a plate is missing off of a buggy.
Well,
I would assume they would enforce it the same way if there was no plate on my car. They'd say
Yeah.
It's obvious.
that isn't registered.
yeah, but, well, and I agree with that. I mean, that's a logical thing, but as opposed to some sort of targeted, you know, Operation Pull.
Oh,
or
no.
sort of situation like that.
I don't think you do that.
So that therefore takes us back to the situation where if you don't set up a fee structure that will encourage voluntary compliance, it's self-defeating. I mean, in the United States, virtually every law that we pass counts on voluntary compliance. Internal revenue counts on people being honest and filing their taxes because they can't possibly enforce those things.
But when they do catch you, they cut your head off. It's penalties
Well,
and interest that'll
Yeah.
double what you should have paid.
Yeah.
And so if you cheated the IRS for 50 grand, they come after you for 100.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying that
Well, it's voluntary, but it's not. If you don't pay your house taxes,
Yeah.
they sell your house. If you don't register
Yeah.
your car, they tow your car, they impound it, it'll cost you $1,000 to get it back. So, I mean, I agree with you that you you are right. You go and say, hey, it's $10,000 per plate, they're all gonna say, we're just gonna go. But if we're not gonna collect enough to fix the roads, and Bill, let me finish my thought and then go ahead. Another current argument is, well, show me the damage to the roads. Well, I'll give it that. We don't have a lot of damage yet, but we do have a good gauge to look at, and that's County Road 64, which is a brand-new, beautifully paved road that's 3 months old. So it's paved in middle of June, and it has track mark, not troughs yet, but it's getting chipped up. That road's what, 150,000 a mile to do to mill correctly? So even if we get 100 buggies to register at 350, that's 35,000. In 3 or 4 years, that road will have to be done again. That's just enough to cover that road, that one road, to fix it right. So then that goes back to my discussion, okay, DeKalb County, are you happy with the troughs being fixed with a cap, basically, a fill? Because that's the only way we're gonna fix them at $2.50 a plate, that, in my opinion. I don't think we're gonna fix them properly, because I don't think it'll be there, but, and I get your point. You get it too high, they'll just say, screw you, we're not gonna, you know.
I mean, they'll roll the dice and.
But that's also breaking the law.
My comment is, if we're going to depend on them to voluntarily adhere to the law or follow the law, we might as well not have the law.
Yeah.
We might as well just table the whole thing. This isn't about volunteering to follow a certain law. Anybody that makes a law, federal, state, or whoever, we don't volunteer to follow it. It's the law.
And I agree with that 100%, but I also agree with Mike's point that he says they probably just won't comply, and I agree, but then they need to get the fine, because it is the
Fine.
law.
We speed, we get the fine. We don't put tags on our car, we
Right.
get fined.
Right, they're not a suggestion,
There's no argument with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I'm-
so, and as far as the damage, it shouldn't be based on how many horses and buggies you have. It should be based on each buggy and horse, the damage that it causes. In other words, yeah, there's fewer, there's going to be less damage, but yet the damage that's created by each horse and buggy is the same, whether it's 7,500 horses and buggies or whether it's 10 horses and buggies.
Right.
Per horse and buggy, the damage is the same.
Right.
Considering, given the fact that they're probably, if they're driving the same miles, which we cannot calculate that, we don't have any way to do that. So therefore, to say, well, one county's got a lot of horses and buggies, yeah, they need to charge more, that's ludicrous.
Well, there's,
Because it's per horse and buggy is what the damage is caused. And the point is to accumulate funds to do that repair when the repair needs to be done.
and that was another thing I want to say is, I think we need to be proactive and not retroactive.
Yeah.
To say, well, and Mike, I do get your point about it, because I understand, okay, they just won't comply, but then, okay, they're breaking the law, will it get enforced? That's a whole different discussion, but there's a certain amount of damage done, and there needs to be enough fee to collect it. The other thing that is said is, well, there's special horseshoes. So far, the folks that I've talked to that run a lot of buggies say, there's really not. They all have to have spikes. Whether they're composite or not, that's one thing. But they still have to have the spike, and the spike is what's the problem, because when that horse hits, transfers energy and kicks back, or going up a hill or down a hill especially, the spike is what keeps the horse from falling. How does it do it?
Yeah.
It's the same way when you drive a stake into the ground that they did to our road there in Spencerville that we turned over to them. We said, you want to damage the road? Here's the road.
I had asked for suggestions on this, to start compiling suggestions. And I will start with mine, and my suggestion is still $350 per household. And they can do whatever they want. If they want to transfer that, if they get tired of transferring, they want to buy two plates, that's up to them. But they
Right.
gotta buy at least one plate. And that is enforceable with a $350 fine if they're caught without the plate. Plus they have to get the plate. The other thing we had a discussion on was the light. How high that light should be and whether it should be on an open wagon, open buggy, as opposed to a buggy with a top on it. And my suggestion is we go to a number of inches above the roadway. So if it's a wagon, that light's got to be up 60 inches, whatever that might be. If it's a closed buggy, it's got to be up 60 inches, whatever. You know, it's got to be a minimum of so much above the roadway.
And I would like to talk to the people that run, not that they don't need to be safe, but I want to talk to them, people that own these buggies, what that looks like. How would you attach it? Or is that, let me get some data from them first and look at their actual buggies and say, how would you attach this light if we do, let's say 60 inches, for example? The one thing I would like to just point out though, and I've had this discussion, we need to be reasonable. I've said openly, I don't want to fleece anyone. I don't take religion out of it, take anything out of it. I just want the damage fixed that's caused by these vehicles. But we have to admit that these roads were not built, asphalt roads were not built for spikes to go through them. It's just all there is. So it is going to get damaged. And everyone that draws these horse-drawn buggy, they admit it.
Yeah.
The one thing I
There's no
don't want to
question.
do, because I've listened to the gentleman that sat here, he said, hey, they collect 55 from us in Allen County and they fix nothing. And they really,
What's the point?
yeah, what's the point of doing it? So we know 55 is too low. We know 110 isn't enough, like LaGrange, because that's only buying the material and that's only for a patch job. So, but I would like to have a discussion about the light too, because I do not want to cause a hardship. Like if a light, how do you attach a light? I assume they have attach points or something on those buggies, but I need to see one.
Yeah.
I think it would be
I mean,
irresponsible
have
to.
them mount some kind of a pole and run wiring down.
Yeah, well, I think they'd be battery powered.
Well, they will be, but
Yeah.
you still have to wire it to the battery.
Well, no, what I mean is a
Oh,
lot of them
well,
have
they might be
built-in battery
self-contained.
now, and
Yeah,
they're even,
self-contained.
some of them are even solar charged battery powered, but here nor there, let me talk to them. And, but I think there needs to be a talk with everyone that's gonna do it, the Horsemen's Association, anyone.
Yeah.
And just say, why do you think it should be lower? Why do you think? And how do I tell someone that runs their car on the road, this is the road you're gonna get from now on? When they're paying upwards of $1,500 a year between their license plate and their gas tax and, so.
When in that original ordinance that we had written up, there was a 30-day, if you operated less than 30 days on the highway, you didn't need a tag. And you didn't like that idea, but I kind of like that idea. That would exempt the Horsemen's Association.
Well, I like the idea, other than everyone that gets pulled over will say, I haven't run this 30 days.
This is true.
And so it's their word against yours. And maybe they're telling the truth, maybe they haven't, but then again,
But then you go in the computer and you find out, do they have a tag?
well, if they
If they
have
don't
a
have a
tag.
tag, they're not in compliance. If they have a tag,
Well, they are though, because they just told you they didn't run it more than 30 days. My answer would always be, I haven't run this more than 30 days.
I just hate to put
Yeah,
that on the
I'm-
Horsemen's Association.
Well,
I just don't think you can discriminate though.
no, I don't either.
That's the problem. And that, I just think you're discriminating at that point if you know,
Exempt them.
yeah. If that's the carve out, in other words, you're saying, well, I don't want to do it to horsemen, I think you're carving them out at that point. It's,
What do you think on that, Mike?
I still think, we're much farther ahead on highway dollars in general to direct one of these solar EDAs to the highway department fund. So we have some real money. I mean, we're spending a whole lot of time on this, on the horse-drawn vehicle ordinance for a minuscule amount of money. I mean, if
I agree with that.
If we passed it at $350 and we had 100% compliance, we're going to generate about $100,000 a year, $105,000 a year. That's not going to fix much road at all.
well,
even
and
if-
that goes to my point.
Yeah.
One of my friends that has horse-drawn buggy says, Todd, you can't charge us enough. We rip up the roads far more than that.
Yeah. So.
So do we
and
just
so it's a
accept it?
balancing act. Do you charge something and you get good compliance and you raise it as you see fit?
As long as the people that drive
and-
cars are happy with the roads, I just want them to know firsthand that if we don't
You know,
collect enough.
And I did do some checking. You can use studded snow tires in Indiana from October through May, I think.
Is it during
Maybe it's
only a
April.
snow emergency though?
No.
Oh, really? I thought it was
You
just
can
only.
use chains as needed for an emergency,
Emergency.
but you can run studded snow tires of like 5 months out of the year.
That surprised me because they're dangerous too.
Yeah, they fly out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Anyway,
Anything else on the buggies?
no, I'll talk to them though.
Okay.
I want to talk to some of the groups. And
Okay. And like you say, it's not a great amount of money, yet if it's $100,000, it's $100,000.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's better than nothing. And then on the other hand, shouldn't they contribute the same as everybody else contributes, for crying out loud? Why are we exempting them? Why are we
I'm not,
even
I'm not talking
suggesting?
about exempting anybody, I'm talking
But you're
about,
close to it.
well,
You're close
That's-
to it. So if
yeah,
we're going to do it, let's do it. If we're not going to do it,
And I think it was a good point you raised about the economic development money. That's a finite period of time.
Yeah.
They're typically 3 to 5 years, and then what do you do all of a sudden? You need to kind of weigh that in determining what your hit is going to be initially, whether it's going to be 300, whether it's going to be 200, 500,
Yeah.
whatever it is. You have a contribution based on some logic. Because it's a good idea to use some of that to divert the money to highway for roads.
yeah,
That's not going to last that long.
no.
All right.
let's take a break.
Wow, that took up some time.
Break time.
Yeah.
I got any more emails? Sometimes I get them as they're going. Okay. All right.